Welcome to The Checkout. We catch up with previous Add to Cart guests and ask them 5 quick questions to get to know them better and leave you with a little extra inspiration to get you through your Friday.
Today's checkout features Ash Hudson, CEO of Retail Global. Ash and the Retail Global team have worked around the globe for the past 8 years, running e-commerce events in the Middle East, North America, India, Europe, the UK, and of course, here in Australia. Their Retail Fest on the Gold Coast is a 3-day e-commerce extravaganza and one not to be missed. Ash, thank you so much for joining us on The Checkout. We had a great chat with yourself and Martin Newman around all things customer and the Retail Fest that's coming up. Here to learn a little bit more about you, the man behind the conference.
Amazing. Happy to be here.
5 quick questions, mate. Number 1, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever bought online?
It's a pretty good one, actually. It's not, I know Martin's got a good one too, but this one's interesting. It's a sausage dog shaped toy that when you lift the top off, you can put a hot dog in it and it cuts the sausages into little bite-sized pieces, and then the dog bowl at the front you fill with tomato sauce, so you can actually let your kid pick up the hot dog and dip it in the dog bowl and eat it.
Question for you. Have you ever used that without your child present?
So many times. Every time you have a few friends for a couple of drinks, it comes out.
That is fantastic. All right, number 2. Oh, this is a tough one for you. Who's your favourite retailer?
I've probably got 2 favourite retailers without being too controversial. One, from a pure love of the brand, is Ringers Western. They're relatively new to the space, but absolutely nailing it. I saw they're sponsoring a Netflix movie coming out recently. I really like the quality of the gear and then just the boots and everything. It's next level for me. I stumbled across them by accident, but yeah, probably one of my favourites.
Okay.
The other one, based on what they're doing, is Gander. Everyone will see me wearing short sleeve shirts and Crocs. Basically, that's my new uniform. And all my shirts from Gander, they're amazingly comfortable, but also they're, as far as I know, ethically and sustainably sourced. I could have eaten some bad PR there, but I'm pretty sure that it's a worthwhile brand from everything I know.
Worst case scenario, you just fit in the Gold Coast. You just look like a local.
Look great otherwise.
Look great. All right, number 3. Which retail fad do you wish was history?
The worst thing for me is people that are doing too many ads online and you purchase from them, but then they've oversubscribed instead of turning their ads off or reducing them. So I recently bought a pair of shoes 3 months ago. I'm still waiting for them. And to the point where I wondered if the business was real or not. It turns out it was, but they're overwhelmed. So it's kind of, don't bite off more than you can chew at that point. Like, grow sustainably, because if you've got too many orders, we talk about it all the time in the previous years where during lockdown as well, if you're out of stock, have a notice. If you've got to have delivery delays, have a notice. But no communication in 3 months, I feel like I wasted $300. But in the end, they are coming. It's just severely delayed.
Yeah, you wouldn't put up with that service in store, would you?
No, not at all.
All right, number 4. Can you recommend a book or a podcast that our listeners should immediately get into?
Do you know what's funny? In the podcast side of things, I only really listen to 2 podcasts. It's just this one, Add to Cart, and then The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby. So I'm probably not a great example there. I'm new to podcasting. But on the book side, definitely Martin's got a couple of books which are incredible. I'd highly recommend them. Paul Waddy's actually released his Shopify for Dummies, which is kicking goals. But there's 2 books for me that I kind of think have changed the way I think. One of them, Unexpected, which was the Jimmy Carr's latest biography. He actually talks from a funny way where he talks about life lessons he learned coming from a poor Irish area to doing what he's doing now. Obviously, he's a shock artist, but he's got some really good lessons in there.
It's actually on my read list because I had another friend recommend it and said it's actually nothing like his comedy. I don't mind his comedy in small doses, but his book apparently is very raw and very open and a bit deep.
100%. You don't expect it reading through it. It's funny, don't get me wrong, but it's funny in a way you're going to learn from it. So it was really changing for me. The other one's a really good one from a sales side. If anyone's in sales, and you can definitely recommend it to the company you're working with. It's called Never Split the Difference by Voss. He's a former FBI negotiator. I remember watching it. It was on TV one day. He was on a American morning show when we were over in the States doing a job, and he was being interviewed. So I looked it up and bought it. It was incredible. Some of the lessons learned where it comes back to what we talk about in the podcast. You don't always have to discount to get the best deal. Sometimes it's about believing in yourself and your product, and people will listen.
Yeah. We might share a bookshelf actually, because I'm actually halfway through that on Audible at the moment. Fantastic. Like, one of the lessons that stood out for me is when he says, don't always go for the yeses, go for the nos as well, because then that puts you in a really safe space of everyone knowing what's not on the table and being upfront about that. There's so many great tips in there and a crazy background.
100%. You think about that at the moment. Everyone comes to us wanting to reduce budget, we've got this, we've got that. Well, your reduced budget, I understand, I sympathise, but our costs don't change. So it's a give and take in a lot of ways.
Yeah, brilliant. Great recommendations. Thank you. Last one I have for you, Ash. Finish this sentence. The future of retail is?
Being talked about at Retail Fest. Good plug there.
See, you never miss a sales opportunity, do you? Those books work.
They definitely do.
Ash, thank you so much for joining us on the checkout and can't wait to see you at Retail Fest.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
To hear more from Ash, jump back into our very special Explainer episode number 274, where Ash is joined by global customer champion Martin Newman. He's a keynote speaker at the upcoming Retail Global. Ash also shares what e-commerce professionals can expect at Retail Global and gives his take on what customers are expecting in today's retail environment. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep adding to cart.